Hello YouTube, VG Time back again with another deck profile for the Dragon Ball Super card game. This time is for a deck that has been one of my closet favorite decks, so to speak. I don't actually play it myself, but whenever I see someone play, I love it. And this is going to be my take on the Goku Black and Zamasu deck. Now, this deck does get some kind of support when the Unison set comes out. But it's really more so geared towards the Goku Black and Zamasu cards in that set. But a couple of cards you could still play in here. So hopefully when that comes out, I'll be able to show you updates to this deck profile. So leaders Goku Black and Zamasu has an auto on attack where you look at the top 5 cards and you choose a blue or yellow Goku Black and Zamasu and add it to your hand. Then its awaken condition requires your opponent to have 3 energy in order for him to awaken. And when he does, he draws a card and untaps 1 energy. On the backside, he becomes Fuse Zamasu's Supreme Strike. This guy right here has an auto the same as the front side where when you attack, you get to look at the top 5 and choose a blue or yellow Goku Black or Zamasu and add it to your hand. But he has an auto that when he attacks a leader card, he gets minus 5k. A lot of people look at it as a downside, but I actually believe it's a positive because if you have nothing else to attack into, you could attack into their awakened leader to get a card yourself while not giving that awakened leader a card, or your opponent a card. So I think it's actually kind of strong. And then it has an activate main once per turn, 2 of them actually, but the first one is if your opponent is at 8 or more energy, you could choose up to 4 of their life and put it on the bottom of the deck in any order that you choose. So it's kind of an automatic win condition because most decks, by the time they have 8 energy or so, are going to be at that 4 or less life. A lot of decks kill themselves to get themselves awakened. So it's not really hard for you to be able to pull that off. And even if they don't do that to themselves, because you could choose up to 4, you could take someone who might have sat at 8, put them down to 5, and then bring them down to 1 on the following turn and pressure them with the battle cards you have on the field. So there's a bunch of options. And then lastly, he has another activate main once per turn where you can pay 1 to bounce one of their battle cards back to your hand. It has no discrimination on it, but of course it doesn't work on barrier, but it doesn't matter what size or attack power they have. So first things first, we're going to start with the multicolor cards of this deck. I played 3 copies of Beerus Fickle God. This is your Nora Energy Exhaust guy. Of course, these are in each color combination. If you happen to have a multicolor card charge, these guys ignore energy exhaust. The next up, I play 4 copies of Fuse Zamasu, the Cunning. He is a counterattack. He has a keyword that is kind of underrepresented in this game, which is Aegis Blue Yellow, which means that if you discard a blue and a yellow card or a blue yellow multicolor card, you get to untap 2 energy, which is a very strong defensive ability. The problem is the best Aegis card was given to the deck archetype that was the most aggressive, so they never got to use that Aegis card. So if we had, like, say, a Zamasu that did the exact same thing as the Kefla from U6 did, I believe Aegis would get played considerably more. But he has a permanent that if your leader is Goku Black or Zamasu, he costs 2 less on your opponent's turn. So that's why I play 4 of them. He is only going to be a blue-yellow. You play him, he's indestructible, and he gets you back energy to defend yourself with. Now the next card makes Aegis even more worthwhile, which is from Draft Box 5. We have 3 copies of Jean and Martine, Universe 12, Angel and Destroyer. He's a counterplay for 3. Where the card is being played has a cost of 5 or less. It is played with his skills negated, and you play him, of course. And then he also has Aegis Blue Yellow, And he has an auto once per turn that if Aegis Blue Yellow is activated, you get to draw 2 cards. So it doesn't have to be his Aegis Blue Yellow. It could be another card's Aegis Blue Yellow. But still, when it's activated, you have an auto, you get to draw 2 cards, which makes the discard cost actually a +1 and completely worth doing. Then to help towards the win condition of the leader, we have 3 copies of Fuse Zamasu Divine Providence. It has Union Patora for 4 blue, double yellow, where if you happen to union it, you get to look at your opponent's hand, choose 2 their cards in their hand, and put it into energy and rest mode. This card is amazing. If you could get to the 6 and the requirement of having a blue Goku Black and a yellow Zamasu on the table in a timely manner, you can actually take away your opponent's win conditions or their ability to defend themselves and put it into their energy, which is very hard to get cards back from. Some people might scoff at that because you're giving your opponent more energy to be able to do things. But if you're taking away the things that they could do, doesn't really matter. So that's kind of how I look at it. And of course, he's 30K, but he doesn't have any double strike, triple strike, crit, or anything like that. He's just a meat shield. Then we have 1 copy of Power Patara, Vegito, Kefla, and Zamasu. This card right here is your backup win condition, so to speak. As triple strike, it's an ultimate, and has a permanent that it reduces its cost by 3 if your opponent has 6 energy in rest or 6 cards in rest, which, you know, is pretty cool. It could easily just be 6 cards in rest, but they give you the 2 options. And has auto when you play it, you get to rest up to 4 of your opponent's cards, and you draw 4 cards. I think this is going to be somewhat significant in the future, again, because of the ramping going on. Plus, your opponent's adding an additional card to the table in the form of the Unison card. So that's an additional card that they're going to probably be resting to attack with, which makes his cost reduction easier to achieve. Then my best defensive options besides the Aegis cards in blue-yellow is 4 copies of Zamasu Sacred Disbelief. To me, this is hands down the best super combo for the deck, and I don't think it's even close. When you super combo with this guy, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards or leader card and put it into rest mode. It does ignore barrier, but that doesn't really matter. Usually you're resting the leader or some big bad ultimate card or something like that. And usually the card I play when I use that is 4 copies of Bojack, Resonant Agent of Destruction. This guy right here, I believe, is a blue-yellow staple. You rival him for yellow. And he has an auto that when he comes into play, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards and you put it into rest mode, and then they mill a card from the top of their deck. He's a 20K blocker. Can't say enough good things about him. Then lastly, for a multicolor, we played 3 copies of Frost Deadly Poison, which is one of our other counterplays in this deck. It has the effect that when the card is being played, it enters into the battlefield in rest mode with its skills negated, and you get to draw a card. And then if you happen to be at 3 or less life, you get to untap an energy. So powerful card. So as you can see, this deck is really trying to, at least the way I build it, not play at all on your turn, but to play primarily entirely on your opponent's turn, like a good control deck should do. But there's one card that you do have to play on your turn because it is critical to the operation of the deck. And that is 4 copies of Super Saiyan, Rose, Goku Black, Inviting the Darkness. This is your energy ramp of the deck, or at least one of your primary ones. A lot of times people aren't going to waste a card on this, like Denial of Hope or Hidden Potential on this. But they probably should if you're really thinking about it, because it allows you to get to your strategies a little faster. But you play them, you ramp 1 card from the top of your deck into your energy as long as your leader is Goku Black or Zamasu. And then it has a second part of that auto, which is at the end of your opponent's turn, they reveal the top card of their deck. If it is a battle card, they ramp it into their energy in rest mode. If not, you draw a card. So you get a benefit either way, but the main thing is that it helps you towards your strategy of getting your opponent to 8 in order to burn them for 4. Then we have our free cards. So we have 4 copies of Goku Black, Countdown to Destruction. As long as you have 5 or more energy, which is another reason why, again, ramping with the 3-drop is kind of important. You get to play this guy for free from your hand. And then if your leader card is Goku Black or Zamasu, you get to draw a card. And you can't play another copy of him for the turn, which usually doesn't really matter. You kind of sandbag him until you have the 8-drop, and then you play him on that turn. And when you play him on that turn, you usually are playing him along with this guy right here, which is 3 copies of Zamasu the Mastermind. He's the free blocker. But he only is a free blocker if you have a Goku Black in play or in the leader area. Just remember that when your leader is on his backside, it's no longer Goku Black. So you have to make sure you have one on the tables. That's why I run 4 of the free one. So you could just play him, then play the free blocker, and go into the 8-drop once you get to 6 energy. The last of our counter plays, I play 2 copies of Champa the Trickster. This gets about everything else, like the truly bomby stuff. Like they play Gogeta 7 or something else with barrier. You just play this guy, ignores the barrier, it taps the card, and you draw a card. Always going to be good. Then because our leader is blue, we have the generic blue stuff. 4 Blitz Senzu Bean. And 4 Dimension Magic. Just the ability to have energy up and to be able to defend yourself is very key in this deck. And then our next card is both a defensive card as well as ramp, which is Plan for Destruction. It gives your leader plus 10k for 1 energy as I activate battle, which is, solid. It's not, Ultra Instinct Goku Kamehameha or anything like that, but it's solid. And then if you happen to have 7 or more energy between you and your opponent, you get to play it into your energy mode and rest instead of going to the graveyard. So I think this card is actually pretty solid. It's definitely not a super early game card, but once you start getting to the point where you have your Aegis rolling and you can defend yourself, it'll put you to a point where maybe by turn 3 or 4, about turn 4, you can spend that turn 4 turn defending yourself and put yourself up to 6 by the time that turn is over. And it comes back to you. In which case you get to take away their threats in their hand with your 8-drop, possibly remove a card on their table, and be able to close out the game from there. So at least that's the hope for it. So that's it for this deck profile. Again, as new cards come out and other things get spoiled for the next set, when I get them, I'll update this deck and I'll show you what the new deck profile is like. So again, like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully you enjoyed this deck profile, and I'll see you again in the future.